speech without speech without words. Yes, yes, there's a whole world out there of nonverbal communication, of things that we do. And it really plays a major role in our language as to how we communicate. And surprisingly, you're going to have nonverbal communication in the United States is entirely different than in South America, is entirely different than in Asia, and is related a lot to nonverbal over in Europe, except for the fact that it really is almost confined to the English-speaking languages because of the fact that that is our main language in the United States. So pay attention about the nonverbal because it's not a universal language out there, and you'll see different people with different aspects of it. A friend of mine, one time after a large meeting, he came up to me and he's talking to me. Well, I'm a pretty normal American, and my distance I have between myself and somebody else is about 18 inches to 24 inches. That's the comfort range of distance between people. So he gets closer and closer and closer to me. And he's a personal friend of mine, and I knew he had this issue of he doesn't know about personal spaces. Finally, it's noisy. He got close to me, and he's literally right here talking to me. And I'm backed up against the wall, and I'm terrified to death and everything, even though I knew there's nothing wrong with what he was doing, even though I wasn't getting attacked. It was just one of these things of I had a hard time hearing what he said because his violation of my typical American airspace between me and him was violated. I'm sitting here, except for the fact that that was his normal thing, and I just had to accept it because he was different, had a different value system than I had. So a lot of times, nonverbal communication, it differs from verbal because there's less rules that are defined out there. Obviously, when you talk a language, you have rules in the language, but when you do nonverbal, there's no written rules that, oh, by the way, when you say this word, you should go, ah, when you say this word, you should, oh, we don't do those kind of things. We kind of adapt them through our communication style, and a lot of it is value-based upon our childhood and as we grow up. Most of our nonverbal communication is automatic and unconscious. So your nonverbal cues, the way you look at somebody, the way you listen, how intense you are, the way you move, the react. Tell the person you're communicating with whether or not you care, if you're being truthful, and how well you're listening. Are you responding to them? Are your eyeballs wandering off? You ever roll your eyes to the back of your head and somebody caught you? Okay, those are all nonverbal, and people do pay attention. So when your nonverbal signals match up with the word you're saying, they increase trust, clarity, and rapport. When they don't, they can generate tension, mistrust, and confusion because people don't know which way you're coming or you're going. Pay attention to the nonverbal cues. I would recommend you go out and read a little bit about this past our text. This is one simple chapter in our textbook. The reality is that it really comes down to go pay attention, watch people. I enjoy going to a busy shopping area, shopping district especially, watching people interact with each other. You can learn an awful lot about nonverbal. When there's a study way back, it's an old study from 1968. Everybody in the world quotes it and think they're an expert on it. A lot of it is misinterpreted. There were two studies in 1968 from UCLA, and by the time it was done, the studies indicated that when the message is not clear, that people will rely on the nonverbal component 93% of the time for clarity on the message. If you're clear on the message, though, as to what you said, they're going to rely more on the words that you speak coming out of your mouth than they will on the nonverbal communication. So watch what you're doing. The official thing is that if the message is not clear, they rely 7% on the verbal, 38% on the tonality that you might have, and then 55% on the facial expressions they may have in the process. So that's officially what the study says. This study is not as deep, and frankly, everybody quotes it thinking that it is the gospel truth about the aspect of nonverbal communication. It really is not, but it does play a role by communicating to you that the nonverbal is a big, big thing. So what attitudes do the following body movements suggest to you? Okay, this would indicate that I don't care what you have to say, even though this is an asynchronous class and I can't see you whatsoever, but it looks like I'm boxing myself off from you. or it could mean I'm very cold. Okay, so, and you have a couple things. What about this one here? I got my fingers on my lips. I got my arm down here. Okay, this one here means, I'm listening and I'm thinking. But as soon as they put that finger over my lip, it means I'm waiting for my break to dive in to talk to you. A lot of the movements, okay, do they always mean the same thing? What about the aspect of if you watch too many detective movies, you'll always catch this. Okay, you got to answer this question. If you look to the left means one thing and look to the right means the other thing. Let's see, left, right. Left, in theory, if you look up to the left, that means you're lying. If you look to and you're creating a story, if you're looking to the right, there means that you're in the back of your head trying to remember. There's so many different things. There's an awful lot of things about the interpretation that you have. There's proper eye contact when you're talking to somebody. Always try to maintain good, solid eye contact with them. Have a positive tone in your voice. You know, to be honest, nobody likes losers. Nobody likes whiners. Always be upbeat and uplifting whenever you possibly can, even when you're delivering bad messages. The personal appearance, look polished and professional. And I realize that we're in a world where looking like a bum and wearing pajamas on different types of video calls, and as long as nobody sees it. But here is a simple truth. Whether they see you or not below the camera, if you are dressed super casual, you're going to probably act super casual. I realize maybe that's your style. I'm just telling you from the business perspective, you want to present your best image and your best face each and every single time. And that includes present that image to you inside of your head. So make certain you're dressed well. Even if you're home, that's my opinion. It's not the textbook's opinion, and there won't be a test question on this. I'm just telling you that you need to make certain in your head that you're prepared and professional in your mannerism, even if nobody can see you what is underneath the bottom part of the camera. Hold your posture well. Don't slouch. Don't be a bum. Don't lean back in your chair. Make certain you have good posture. Make certain if you dare touch anybody in this world nowadays, that it's an appropriate touch, just the finger. Although I don't even advise it anymore because everybody is out there trying to point fingers and, oh, that's sexual harassment. Well, not really. It just, oh, yeah. So don't touch them. Okay, facial expressions. There's a whole series of them. The personal space, the hand gestures, the body language. A couple things on body language. You'd be surprised how powerful your body language can be. One trick that I've used for years in negotiations is the out hand, the outturned hand, the open hand. Sometimes when somebody, you want to get them to talk and open up to you, you just put that open hand out there because Americans, we have a tendency to view open hand gestures as I'm open to what you're saying. You're opening your door and you're letting them invade your space with your thoughts. It's a very kind gesture. I recommend that if you try that, it really is very effective in the process. There's a couple things. Whistling. That means you got a problem coming and you're trying to avoid it. A bowed posture means you've done something wrong. Twiddling your thumbs mean I'm just waiting for you to finish. Will you stop? And it's not a very complimentary thing. Of all things in the United States, do not do this thing. It is a bad thing, especially in a job interview. You probably will not get the job unless the whole crew really doesn't understand anything about nonverbal and they think it's really cool. This is called steepled hands. We interpret that in the United States as I am arrogant and smarter than anything you can possibly say to me. Okay, that is really bad. And don't use the sprawling city position over here, especially in a job interview. Don't be the slob that walked in and happened to stumble into an interview and you think you're worthy of it. Rubbing your hand through your hair, normally we interpret that you're hiding something and you're kind of embarrassed in the process. The open hand is a big thing. Have an unbuttoned coat if you're wearing any type of a suit coat, sports jacket in the process, unbutton that. Wringing hands, tugging ears. We think that we're giving them something that's going to hurt their ears, so you automatically tug your ears, which means you're probably lying. So pay attention to that. I recommend you go out and pick up an easy to read book on body language. It isn't that difficult, but I also recommend that whatever you read about this topic or learn about this topic, take it with a grain of salt, which means don't believe it 100% because sometimes people do these different things because of how they're raised. So be cautious on interpreting too much on nonverbal communication. Sharing another person's emotions. One thing that really is handy is if you ever deal with somebody on a really tense issue, copy them, mirror their aspect of it. I've done that before, and I've never had one person ever call me out on it. When somebody sits there, they have a facial expression that I'm really concerned about it. I put one on too if I'm planning on mirroring them. Or if they cross their arms, I cross my arm. If they put their hand out, I put my hand up. If they cross their legs, I cross my legs. You do that, and it's incredible how much that changes the manner, because you're identifying with their work, you're mirroring their same expressions. It serves three purposes. One, it improves the feedback to the speaker, the one that's talking. It shows empathy, and it really is a drive to bond with that person. This is the mirroring is a huge thing. So speech without words, watch. The more you see, the better the communication. The 93% number is a bit flawed, but there's a lot of truth to the aspect of the nonverbal dominating being more important than the actual words that are spoken. Digital communication will always be mediocre. The human connection, no matter what happens, no matter what generation you are, talking to a human face to face is far superior than any other type of communication. Second to that, try to do some type of video thing where you can see the facial expressions, the hand expressions, anything else that you can have to help assist the actual words that are spoken. Humans on the phone are always better than AIs and chatbots, by the way. An AI can't express emotions. If they do, they're probably lying to you. And the chatbots, they're probably in cahoots to organize the overthrow of planet Earth. But speech without words, I was just kidding, by the way. Speech without words is critical. Nonverbal communication is an essential part of communications. Deliver the toughest messages in person so you can have that empathy rolling off of you and they can see that, or serious messages or positive messages. As best you can, try your best to be much more personable on the face-to-face thing, because speech without words is very powerful. Take care.